If you're just joining us on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, the face you see right there is that of, and I put his name under him, Sergeant Antoine KINCADE, Fayetteville, Cumberland County Crime Stoppers liaison, took the place of Lieutenant Codwell, Alpha Codwell, who got promoted. And so now that she's gone, you're in. And normally you bring us the latest Crime Stoppers crime of the week, but you're shifting gears. What is that about?
Yes, sir. Well, if we can just real briefly go back to last week, like I said, we really need some information on last week's crime. They kind of actually wanted me to mention that again. So,
Which one is that?
that was for Mr. Kellum last week, that you've been advertising and putting out on the air daily. Really need some information on that. Like I said, that case happened last year, and we definitely need some information. Those homicide detectives need some kind of grounds to go on. Somebody has to see something. Somebody's ring cam, as we discussed last week, may have caught something. You may have heard something. Somebody may have said something. Once again, nothing's too small. No piece of information is too small. But I did want to shift gears this week because, Crime Stoppers, this is like policing. Policing is not just a reactionary force, but we want to kind of be proactive. The same thing with Crime Stoppers. We can be proactive with some of the things that we can submit to Crime Stoppers. We briefly touched on it last week, but with this week being graduation week, there's going to be a lot of gatherings. There's going to be a lot of parties. There's already flyers that are being disseminated. There's being flyers that are being put out. And as we discussed always in many of our discussions, social media is a very powerful tool. And so these young folks get on these phones and they text each other, and they, on Instagram and Facebook and all these other Snapchats and all these other platforms. But we also need to make sure we mention that, there is a way to be safe about these things. And so that information can also come to Crime Stoppers. That information could also be, text to 911. Where are these gatherings happening at? Because you and I both know, and we've met when the first time I was the PIO. We met on a lot of scenes where there's a young person that was found deceased after a large party, after a large gathering. So that's what I just kind of want to switch gears this week and just talk about that. Also to just discuss as far as there is city ordinances about a nuisance party, where like I said, that is, you're going to have excessive amount of people, the loud noise. There's also loud noise ordinances. Not familiar so much with the county's loud noise ordinance, but I am familiar with the city's loud noise ordinance. But once again, when you start seeing these things and you start seeing, dozens and dozens of cars lined up and down the block, that may be something that you might want to pay attention to. And once again, before these things happen, these folks obviously they already know where to go.
Well, let me stop you for a second because, the thing, and you make a good point about this. The fact is that this is supposed to be a happy time for our graduates. And sometimes you look on the internet, you see these at the graduation ceremony, things spilling out and getting out of hand. Before they even get the diploma and then get outside. But what you're describing is parties and gatherings. And what we didn't have back in the day when I graduated in '73 was a cell phone that you could get on and all of a sudden have 1,000 people at a location like that. The authorities or police ability to respond to a massive crowd like that in an instant. It's not like you can get on and say, hey, all you guys who are off duty, we need you to come in.
Right.
The force you have is the force that you have. And as long as these things don't get out of hand, that's fine. But inevitably, it only takes one incident to really get something going.
Unfortunately, you're absolutely right. It only takes that one person that's there to not have a good time. And that could be anywhere. It could be at the family reunion. It could also be at one of these parties that, sometimes these young folks, they'll rent out Airbnbs, and, they'll show up with just a large number of people. I can't tell you how many of these parties that we've gone to where there's nothing but young folks. you may not even see a 20-something in the crowd. Everybody's a teenager. And that's concerning, especially when it's 2 a.m. and there's nothing but teenagers at one location. So that's very concerning. But like I said, to get ahead of that, just like we've had some of these takeovers that were advertised on social media, these things they can get sent to Crime Stoppers, and that way we can get ahead of it versus behind it. So that's why I wanted to shift gears this weekend in reference of graduation week.
All right, we're going to hold you over here. If you just started joining me right now, Sergeant ANTOINE KINCADE is the liaison for the Crime Stoppers program for both Fayetteville and Cumberland County. We've got a crime of the week that we're going to recycle because you need help on that. Yes, we're going to hold you over for a second here and bring you back. Right now, we're going to check out Fayetteville's most dependable forecast with CBS 17 meteorologist Rachel Dunsing. Okay, Rachel, right now we've got 64 degrees in Fayetteville, Hope Mills, and in Bun Level. Bun Level? You're listening to News Talk 640 for WFNC. That is it. That's how we do it. That's why I said I need to cue you. The only thing I hate is I didn't have us up on screen. We'll do it next time that way.
And the other thing, I don't feel uncomfortable anymore saying, I don't know why, but get a rope. Used to be the line.
Yeah.
Say New York City.
Right.
Get a rope.
That's it.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, that was a good one there.
Or I could get the actual piece from the commercial that says get a rope.
What it?
Butt level and hit the button.
Get a rope. That's the producer side.
Antoine, you guys get along really well on the road.
Yeah, I've known him since he was in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Long time, sir. Long time.
See, I'm still doing it too. Still doing it. Down at Montreal. Did it Saturday night. I mean, it's Wednesday night.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Doing karaoke. Sip and sing.
I saw you. Was it Melvin's?
Yeah,
I watched the live feed.
I tell you, man, there's some great singers that come out.
Yes.
And then there's me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can tell it's time to go when I start singing. No, I mean, I've got people who've been singing with me for 15 years, 20 years. Really? Yeah. There's one woman, Carol Womack, was a phlebotomist, and she was taking my blood, and I was just starting karaoke corner at the Doubletree. And I was telling her, you need to come out, it's going to be great. And she's just, So 2 weeks later, she shows up and waits till be the very last person, comes up, hands me a slip. I said, you sure you want to sing this? Jennifer Holliday, And I'm Not Telling You. That's okay. She said, I'll try it. Blew it away and has been singing it ever since. I don't know how she doesn't have a record. News Talk 640 WFNC. I was adjusting the microphone so you can hear the bad boys. Sergeant ANTOINE KINCADE is the liaison for the Fayetteville, Cumberland County Crime Stoppers program. When you hear that, did you just start getting your blood or something? What happens to you?
Well, I was actually thought of Martin Lawrence and not knowing the words to the song.
That's a pretty good one. Well, every week we have the Fayetteville Police department come out and give us a WFNC Crime Stoppers Crime of the Week, kind of changing it up a little bit, but you still want emphasis on this story right here. The Fayetteville police continuing their search for a suspect in the murder of Nathan Kellen. It's the WFNC Crime Stoppers Crime of the Week, and you really want to get this out here, so we're going to carry this one over for you.
Please do, yes, sir. Detectives are really needing some information. Any leads, like I said, no information, no piece of information is too small. Please contact detectives so we can get some information first, so that we can get that family some closure.
All right, and break this down for us, because I have it here in my copy, but I'll let you do it since it's your show. The fact is, normally the Crime Stoppers reward is $2,000. This one is in the city limits. Tell us why this is different and how much did you get?
So within the city limits of Fayetteville, if there's a crime that is committed, the Crime Stoppers reward can be up to $5,000. That is due to our city council, and I have to give major kudos to our city council, because they take crime and public safety very serious. So they offer an additional $3,000 for any arrest, not conviction, for any arrest leading to any serious kind of crime. And so, especially a homicide and crimes of that nature, that is something serious, and they will add an additional $3,000 to that.
And that is significant, because there's somebody that knows something.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not sure if the additional $3,000 will do it, in as much as maybe let's just do the right thing and help a family with closure. Talk about that for a second, in terms of the importance of finding out who may have done a particular crime.
Well, this young man, like I said, we discussed it last week. I was one of the first on scene. So you have very upset family members. People are crying. You gotta kind of realize, and not trying to paint a picture again, but you're in your house. It's a snowy night, January 22nd. If anybody can remember, it was one of our rare snow days in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And so next thing you know, gunshots ring out, and you have a loved one that has been pronounced deceased after those gunshots. So family is torn apart. You have people that witness such a horrific incident. They need to know what the purpose of it was. They need to know the why. They need to have somebody to be accountable for that.
I don't want to blame this on video games, but there's a different mindset, I think, amongst young folks in terms of using firearms, because in the video game you get another life. You get a chance to come back. And it's easy to just blame it on the video games or Mortal Kombat or whatever it is that kids play. But these games can be pretty intense, and they take away the reality of the fact that when you shoot someone dead in a game, they come back. In real life, they don't.
Yes, sir. And you hit the nail on the head, is that when these bullets start flying from these young folks, once that bullet leaves the end of that barrel, it can hit anybody.
Well, and a perfect example of that is Zion Gibbs, who was in his house playing video games. Drive by outside, all of a sudden the bullet comes crashing through the house window. It hits him in the face. He dies a couple days later. And his mom, Myra Gibbs, holding the celebration of life for him. That's going to be happening this coming Sunday at Festival Park again. So we support Myra in her efforts. Fawn Doherty, whose daughter was killed by the babysitter's son. All of a sudden the lives are changed forever. And then now you have parents struggling to do the best they can to make sure that their child's death is not in vain.
Yes, sir.
And so you play this out all the time. So we're switching gears a little bit, and we're talking about the fact that we have graduation parties and gatherings coming. And are you already starting to feel it and see it? Are you getting reports of some things?
Well, we're already having, graduations. I know, big shout out to Douglas Bird, my alma mater here in Fayetteville. So they had their graduation yesterday. So, there's already, like I said, I had a neighbor this past weekend. Daughters graduating from Jack Britt. So, that's, they had a party. Of course, they told us, people would be parking on the street. That's fine and everything. But at a decent hour, they shut it down. Of course, they invited us over for hamburgers and hot dogs, but they shut it down, and everybody went home, happy and alive. But
that you make an interesting point. I mean, said they invited the police officers to come by and get a little something to eat.
Yes, sir.
Well, but you know, we can't take that lightly because that I think proves in their intention to just have a good wholesome thing.
Yes.
I think that's the message that I take away from if they say, look, police, come on, we got burgers for you too if you like.
Yes, I mean, you know, there's lots of gatherings that happen. I mean, there's family reunions. There's always kind of, you know, barbecue, whatever. But like I said, most folks they just there to have a good time. They do their thing and they cook out on the grill. I believe there was an impromptu pool party at the Bay's house, you know, not too long ago.
And look, I didn't call y'all to tell y'all to come get anything.
Yeah, I wasn't invited. Kenny, did you get an invite?
No, sir.
See, I mean that's criminal. But
Okay.
anyways,
No, before you'll be finished beating me down here over for not getting the invitation, the point I want to make, not about that. Kenny, I got you up on screen as well, and you can testify to this as well. When you're talking about graduation, you're talking about family members, not only here, but people coming from out of town who don't know the temperament of our town, who bring the temperament of their town to our town. And I'm from Philly. We never have any trouble up in Philly.
Not in a. What was that phrase?
Well, look, I'm not gonna beat up on anybody's thing. But the point of the matter is, and when I bring that up, it's just the fact that you have people coming into the community who don't know your cousin's friend, and so now you get rubbed the wrong way based on what we would do back in Philly.
right,
If somebody steps on our shoes,
right.
Jordans.
And that's where the mature folk of the crowd, and you know, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes these parties there are no mature folk because everybody there is a teenager. So there are no chaperones, there are no adults. Mom and daddy aren't there.
All right, well, let's talk about that. What's the liability? There's some liability there.
Absolutely.
What is it?
Absolutely. So I mean that liability once again is that person as far as whoever is in charge. That's your residence, and you know let's just say once again we use you as an example. We have the Bay's house. But the Bay's, you know, adults are not there, and the Bay's kids are doing whatever they want to do. Well, you know, that is your responsibility because that is your house. I mean, you should know. And once again, in today's world, in today's technology, we have the ability to track our kids. We have the ability to watch our kids. When somebody walks by my house, I see them on our ring cam. So, I mean, we have cameras. We have those kind of things. And going back to the Airbnbs is that most Airbnbs, anyone that I've been to, as soon as I hit the front door, they're counting people coming in that door. And if some Airbnbs require you to have names and ages of people that are going to be staying at that residence. So you know those are very important key factors. And those owners of those Airbnbs, give us a call. Call Crime Stoppers. Call 911. It's like, hey, I'm looking at 50 kids in my backyard and only one person signed up to be at that Airbnb.
Okay, look, we've run out of time here. We appreciate you coming in. Every week we have a chance. Didn't mind taking a break here to talk about this one because it's a very important thing that's going on in the community all week with all the high school graduations, just like a machine over there at the Crown. Yes. Bump, 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 bump. But it's not only happening here, it's happening. This is the time of the year for everyone. So we want everyone to stay safe and enjoy this special time in the year, their lives. And not trying to put a damper on it, but look, let's do it within reason to make sure everybody stays safe.
Celebrate, have fun, be safe.
All right, thank you. We'll see you next week. Sergeant ANTOINE KINCADE, the new liaison spokesperson for Fayetteville, Cumberland County Crime Stoppers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break right now. Right now, we've got local news from CBS 17.
Good morning from the CBS 17 newsroom.
Isn't that
I'm
easy?
Bill
Isn't that
Young. The
easy?
state program that helps families pay for private school tuition is under review. The state auditor